Okay, so now if you plan on making a render within Maya of the model, you can go ahead and do that. So I'm going to show you. Go to create polygon primitives, and I'm going to select a plane. Move that down and scale that, but it looks like it's too small. I'm going to go to my channel box, click on the polyplane one and set the subdivision just to 1. And now I'm just going to move that down. I'll probably scale that. Okay, that's just so that we can have something that can cast the shadow of the water tower here. And for the material, I'm going to hold down right click and assign new material, and I'm going to use the use background material. It's going to open this up, and I'm going to disable this specular color all the way down, reflectivity all the way down, the reflection limit, and the shadow mask just a little bit. Okay, and that should be fine. Also, I'm going to click over here on my camera attributes. I'm going to scroll down, and under the environment we can switch our background color. Okay, and now we want to add some lighting. I'm going to click here under use all lights so that we can actually see the lights in action. And I'm going to create lights. I'm going to use the directional light. Move that up. I'll scale it so that I can actually see it. Press E to rotate it. Go to my attribute editor. I'm going to change the color to something more yellowish, and I'm going to increase the intensity just a little bit. Okay, that should be fine. And I'm going to press Ctrl D to duplicate it, move that to the side, and I'm going to rotate this one the other way. I'm going to decrease the intensity for this one and change the color to something that's more blue. Okay, and I'm going to disable the emit specular, and that should be fine for that light. Okay, I'm going to click on my original light, and actually let's go ahead and do a test render. So if you open a render window, again, if you want to open that, just click right here and open it, and we can hit render. Okay, so this is what we get for now. And again, this is really low res image, so we have to switch that as well. But since this is just our test render for now, I'll just leave it as is. Okay, I'm also going to Ctrl D that light again to rotate it. Let me just move that out of the way. And this is going to be somewhat of a rim light. Okay. Now I'm going to select my original light, and I'm going under shadows. I'm going to set the shadows a bit lighter, and I'm going to enable use ray trace shadows. going to switch my light angle to 3 and shadow raise all the way up. Okay, now let's do a render. And now it's going to take a bit longer because it has to process the shadows. Okay, so this is what we get now. So basically now I want to switch my render settings, go to Options, Render Settings. Under Common, we're going to switch our resolution to something a lot higher. We can do HD 720 or 1080. I'll do a 1080. And I also want to enable the, let's see, I'm going to click right here so that I can actually see my resolution here. And 1080 is a bit too wide, so I'm going to set it to height of 1080 as well. Okay. And I'm also going to switch a few other things. I'm going to quality. And this is for your final render once everything is set up, all the lights. I'm going to switch my quality preset to production. Something I like to do also, if you want your image to be a lot sharper, you can switch from Gauss multi-pixel filtering to Lanczos. Okay. And finally go to options and enable Maya derivatives. Sometimes that can fix problems with the texture. And close. And now go ahead and choose the best view for the model. And I think my shadows are just a bit too light, so I'm going to make them just a bit darker. And maybe my light just a yellow, a bit more yellow. Then just hit render. And in the end, after we were done with the render, this is what we're going to get. So, as you can see, we can kind of see some of the specular here and the bumps that we created from the bump map, as well as the panels. And we can see the transparency that we created with the ladder here. And this is basically a simple render within Maya of the model. This is if you want to show it off, just as the render. And to save your image, just go to Save, File, Save. And I like to save my images as Targa file. And one more thing I want to show you is if you want to render a wireframe of the model here. Say you want to render a wireframe. First thing I'm going to do, let me save my scene. I am going to let's see, all my model is in different pieces, so I'm just going to combine it just to one piece. Mesh combine. So now that it's one piece, if I want to render wireframe. So to render this in wireframe, I'm going to click on my object and my font material. I'm going to click this arrow here, and that's going to take me to my Lambert which says SG here, shading group, and I'm going to click on the mental ray, and I'm going to enable contour rendering. And from here you can select the color for the wireframe. In this case I'm just going to leave it as white, and you can select also the width of the wireframe. But to actually render the wireframe, you have to go under options, render settings, and enable the wireframe rendering. Under features, go all the way down to contours, enable contour rendering, and under here under draw by property difference, make sure you select around all poly faces. And also from here you can select the oversampling of the wireframe. So just close that, and now we can render the wireframe. So if I'm just going to select one area here, and as you can see, that renders the wireframe of the object. So let me go ahead and just render the whole thing in wireframe. And as we can see here, we have the wireframe of the model. This way you can show off the wireframe for the model. And again, to save it, go to File, Save, and just save the image. And if you want to, as a final presentation purposes, you can go open your files in Photoshop. Okay. If you want to change the background, you can do so. If you go to channels, because you save this as a Targa file save this alpha with it. So just hold down Control, click on the thumbnail back here, and you can apply a mask. And now let's say if we switch the color of the background, which in this case I think the original one was already okay. It's an already okay. What's an okay background to have? And we can get a wireframe as well. Just drag the image. I'm going to use the crop tool to increase the area here. And I can have both images side by side. You can also bring a texture You can use a texture for a background. And you can even get your diffuse maps. So that you can show the maps that you used. Again, this is just for presentation purposes. You can present this any way you want. And our water tower is 404 triangles, so we can even name that. So if we create a texture, I mean a text, so just name it water tower. And we can name the amount of triangles, just 4 and 4. And basically this is how you can have, a simple presentation for the water tower.